Now, the process to expropriate land without compensation will take another step forward when Parliament holds hearings for those who submitted written submissions. Now, the Ad hoc Committee set up to amend Section 25 of the Constitution was given until May to complete its work. By the end of February, about 90,000 written submissions were received by Parliament. Let's unpack the story for you now. We're joined by the Chairperson of the Ad hoc Committee, Prof. Mathole Motshekga, via our video line this morning. Prof, a very good morning to you. Thanks for your time on the AM report. I think, you know, the discussion is back on the national agenda, and it'd be good for you to give us an update, Prof, on where we are in terms of the parliamentary process to amend Section 25 of the Constitution.
Our deadline was the 19th of March. But you will know that we are a representative and participatory democracy, and we don't claim to have the monopoly of wisdom. So when the other stakeholders indicated that they would want to amplify the submissions that they made, we deliberated on that matter as the committee, and we reached consensus that those that want to come and amplify their submissions should be given an opportunity. And that meant that we would not be able to meet the deadline of the 19th of March, and we approached Parliament for an extension until the 21st of May, and Parliament granted us that extension. So from today, we will listen to those that want to amplify their submissions, but we are also going to listen to other interested departments that wants to make submissions, because as you know, the implementation of the amended Section 25 will have to be will have to inform an enabling legislation on expropriation. So we have to listen also to other departments. So the process now will be followed by an input by parliamentary legal services on those submissions. Then the committee will deliberate and then come up with an amendment that will then be considered and then finalized so that we meet the deadline of the 21st of May.
Well, speaking of meeting your deadline on the 21st of May, Prof, I mean, it's an incredible amount of written submissions that have been received, 90,000 written submissions. 21st of May, that's about 2 months away. Are you confident that you'll be able to complete that work?
No, we are not going to deal with 90,000 submissions. We agreed unanimously in the committee that we should only deal with submissions of those who requested that they wanted to make further oral submissions. So we are talking about 10 or so submissions.
Okay.
So we'll meet the deadline.
So, Prof, in terms of the work of the Ad hoc Committee, aside from these written and oral submissions, is there also a study being done by the committee in terms of the impact, the socio-economic impact of the expropriation of land without compensation?
As the committee, we have taken notes and studied the report of the High Panel chaired by former Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe. We have also taken on board the report of the Presidential Advisory Committee, and all the submissions as well. They address that question. So we are mindful of all those factors.
And given the amount of work that you have left to do, 2 months left to do that work, When do we expect the bill on these constitutional amendments?
By the 21st, we will have the bill, because work has always been going on. It's just that we made this opening for the stakeholders who wanted to amplify their submissions, but we have not stopped working. We are working. Our parliamentary legal services have been working on the draft, which will be refined on the basis of the inputs that we'll receive from the other departments as well as the stakeholders.
Prof, a lot of criticism coming against the Ad hoc Committee and the way that it seemingly is rushing along to get the job done here. Are you confident that the public participation and the public consultation process takes into consideration what the Constitutional Court said, in that citizens must be given a meaningful opportunity to be heard in making the laws that will govern themselves and their own country?
From the outset, we convened a dialogue inclusive of all stakeholders to say, how do we move forward? And the bill that we gazetted was informed by public participation. But we were also criticized for having advertised the bill during the festive season. Yeah. We listened to the people, as we always do, and then we granted an extension. And now there was the intervening outbreak of the COVID-19. We also took that into account and granted further extension. And everything that we do by consensus. All parties agree on what we do. And finally, we also listened to the calls by those who said they wanted a further opportunity to amplify their submissions. So we are agreed as all political parties that we should not rush anything, and we have not rushed anything. That's why all our actions were based on consensus, agreement by all parties.
So, Prof, just a final parting shot from you. In terms of these oral submissions, when will they be held, Prof, and over how many days?
There will be 1 day for the departments and 2 days for the other stakeholders.
Sure. It seems incredibly quick, doesn't it, Prof?
No, it's not. You remember that before this, we have had public hearings in all the 9 provinces, which were open to all members of society, and we gave them enough time, and we made sure that no one who had attended left without an opportunity to say what they want to say. So we are satisfied that public participation meets the requirements set by the Constitutional Court.
All right, Professor Mathole Motshekga, thanks very much for your time this morning on the AM Report. He's the chairperson of the Ad hoc Committee on amending Section 25 of the Constitution, the process to expropriate land without compensation, taking another step forward with those hearings, those oral submissions that have been set down over, we are told, about 3 days until the end of May, around the 21st of May. That's the deadline that the Parliament now has in terms of amending Section 25.